Okay, and we're back with Colia Cobbs. We was taking some time out to talk about your story. And while we was off on break, we was having some discussion about you because we have two ladies here, one that has dealt with her mother to the end of having Alzheimer's, and we're dealing with now another young lady who is in the throes of caring for her father, and I cared for my uncle until he passed with Alzheimer's. But you, after having your stroke and then dealing with memory loss and then regenerating, this is what we want to talk about now, is the regeneration of your memory. And what has that been like for you? You know, what has it been like for your husband? I really wanted him to join us, but he wanted you to have the floor this time.
One thing we was talking about, me and Jermaine, when I did have the stroke, because I realized a lot of people were treating me different. They were treating me like I was just the interaction of me with the people. They just weren't treating me the same. They like I was kind of slow, and it kind of upset me. Like, you know, I'm the same, but it takes me a time to process and get things through clearly. But he didn't treat me different. And of course, and I realized, I remember because I had my stroke like in April and wound up in May. I got pregnant, so I was like, wow, he really, you know, I'm just.
Well, you know, he was your husband. The stroke didn't make you stop being a beautiful woman.
And I just thought about that, but you know, like he's treating me the same, like nothing was wrong with me.
How would you have felt though if he did treat you like something was wrong? Would you have known the difference, you know?
I probably would have, and I kind of probably would have upset me, like, you know, but he didn't treat me any different. And I think a lot of, like, even some of my friends, like, they were treating me like, you know, kind of like a handicap or something like that. And it bothered me, but I just realized I just appreciated that with him because he didn't treat me.
Well, you know, one thing I say to people for people like yourself and me, is living with amnesia is people can't literally look at us and see our handicap. You know, I have had friends that have been shot. You know, they can show you their scars. I had one friend that was, you know, acid was thrown on her and you can see her burns from her ex-husband. I have friends that that's in wheelchairs that have been shot because of domestic violence and things like that. But when you are living with amnesia, people see you coming, you look normal. And the thing about it is, when it used to affect me, is that I would meet people yesterday and I wouldn't know them tomorrow, or I wouldn't remember their names, or they'll walk up to me and say, you know who I am? And that bothered me living in Atlanta before I came here. It was like a relief for me to come here and live where no one knew me. Sure. You know, and you know, where I didn't have to constantly have people walking up to me saying, I know them. And it's really hard to get people to come into your zone, especially when you say, I don't remember, I have amnesia. Most people throw at you, well, I must have amnesia too, because I'm always forgetting things also. But I always have to say, but my memory loss is, you know, when I tell you I can't remember something, it's just like it's wiped, it's clean. It's like the slate has been wiped clean. But what I do remember, I tell people you can take it to the bank and you can make a withdrawal. Because I remember with a certain clarity that my brain is wiring it back together for me again.
Well, you know, you pointed out the difference between our dealing with Alzheimer's and having to reconcile that the people in our lives are not going to get better. And you all both are recovering and gaining more of your memory over time, and very optimistic and inspired that things are going to get better. Do the doctors expect you to recover 100%, or?
Well, I don't know about Colia, but Colia said she didn't have therapy. Did you have therapy, Colia?
My therapy was it was like a month or so before I actually read anything. And my pastor, he came there and he opened up the Bible. He was like, read. And that was the first time I read. I mean, I didn't read it in really clear and stuff, but that was like my therapy. I just started reading. Lord, you said that my memory, the blessed of the righteous memory is wonderful, and that's my therapy was prayer. So it wasn't.
And that was me, was living life, because right after I got out of the hospital, I got my sister with cerebral palsy. I was going through trial with 2 children I didn't recognize, with a child rape case with the guy that held me and my children hostage for 2 years. And dealing with him, representing himself in court. There was so much I had to live through, I could not live. And a lot of people don't understand is when you go through some of these things, you probably can't afford therapy. And if you need therapy, sometimes therapists change on you, then it's just like you got to try to tell them all over again where you are. And that was what my children was dealing with. And one of the choices I chose was, children, you need to realize what happened. The best thing for us to do is live. You know, and my children treated me like they were my parent. And one day I had to tell my daughter, you know, I am the parent, and I'm going to take responsibility of this role. And I wouldn't go on Social Security. I realized that I had to live this life in spite of what happened to me. And I want to encourage you, because, you know, you're just on your journey. But I think your voice has so much to offer people. And I know Gary told me, don't overtalk you. My producer told me, do not overtalk you. And I'm just trying to pull at some strings inside of you. That's why I want you in this group. Because, you know, I just know you got so much you can share.
Well, you know, I look at it as, you know, because with me being so young, and, you know, people like, oh, like with me having a stroke, they ask me like, what were you taking? Like, what kind of birth control you on? I mean, it's, you know, those situations. I was like, I was at work. I was not taking any birth control, anything to even cause me to have a stroke. No history of like stroke or blood clots in my family, so I didn't know where this came from. And, you know, as far as the testimony of, you know, life, like, you know, not just every morning I wake up like, Lord, thank you for life. You know, you have people killing themselves. Yes. And I'm just, Lord, like, thank you that I'm alive, because, you know, the kind of blood clot I had, you know, they was like, that could have killed you immediately. And I've known people that have had blood clots or had a stroke and they've died. And I just like, Lord, thank you so much that I'm alive, that I have life. And that's just like a testimony in itself.
But not only that, the other miracle is God gave you a baby. He gave you a responsibility. And one, the doctors told you don't even try for.
When I had the blood clot, I didn't have any children or whatever, he told me, he was like, look, he was like, I would advise you, I think I was 28, whatever. Yeah, I was 28. He said, do not have any kids. He said, because you would have a massive stroke, hemorrhaging, and you definitely would die. And when he said that, I was like, oh. And then next month I found out I was pregnant.
But you know, on that note, on that wonderful note, I know we're about to end the show here, but I just want to encourage you. I want you to be inspired. I want you ladies to be inspired. And I want to thank all of my audience for taking time to listen to us right now. You know, I just want to say thank you for joining us. I'm Tahiera Monique Brown, and this is Living True and Truly Living, and I believe in miracles.